Hi, I'm Jesse Cole from Slugcrust, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
How long you been in Richmond, Bruce?
How long have we been at 2004?
Okay, solid 2 decades.
Yeah, I originally grew up in New York, worked in a recording engineer in Manhattan for years and years and years. Then mastering house in Florida for a bit of time, and then you know how the music business went. It kind of went belly up, and
Okay,
time to reinvent. And I became a police dispatcher here in Richmond and play around on the side.
okay. So you did some time in Florida as well? Did I hear
Yeah.
that?
I was in Clearwater at a mastering house called Evertone. They did a lot of spoken books on tape and a lot of I guess mostly spoken word stuff.
Okay, that's awesome. Both me and Derek did some time in Florida before.
What part?
Lifetimes, Florida, Florida man, etc. That's played in a sludge band in Jacksonville right before this, called Swamp, and we put out a split with them right before this. That's our most immediate, newest release record prior to the one we're about to come out with.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were in Jacksonville then?
Yep. Duval.
I've been through Jacksonville, but never stayed. I was in Tampa, in Clearwater and St. Pete area.
Yeah, that's a common experience.
Oh, going through Jacksonville?
Yeah. It's like a pit stop to Orlando and Disney World and all that.
Yeah, Miami, right.
And we got
there's a pretty decent city though, right?
What's that?
It's a pretty big city.
Oh, yeah. It's like the largest city by landmass in the United States. Just because it's the county and the city are one. Duval. Right. Yeah. Wild.
Yep.
Did
you hear from him?
Nah, I think we can go ahead and get started.
Yeah, I mean, if he jumps in, I can let him in and we can circle back or do whatever.
Make a surprise appearance for sure.
So anyway, thanks for joining me. Let's talk about Slugcrust. Latest single. Oh, look, there he is.
There we go. Welcome. Derek, you there?
Hello. Hey, Derek.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know why my camera isn't on. I've never used Zoom. I'm not even gonna lie. So kind of. Wait, here we go.
There you go.
Aha.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Hey, good to see you.
Cool. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us. Should we just chit chat? Yeah. So we're gonna just jump right in if you want.
Cool.
Latest single, Feral Natural. Great, heavy as hell. I gotta ask you though, what are you guys so pissed off about?
I'll let Jesse answer that one on this.
Well, whatever comes naturally. It's a sort of call to that. It reverts back to that thin veneer of civilization, and that inner animal that human beings are. That there's a little piece of that is always going to be irked off, and gotta vent that, have that to get it out. So that's the kind of the call to feral natural, if you.
Do you find that writing music this aggressive and this heavy and this, I don't know, I guess that's even violent, is cathartic as a writer, as a musician?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it's a good outlet for anybody that has any kind of anger. I mean, I think, and that could go for anyone. I think if they just tried to scream into a microphone for a little bit or just play some really heavy drums or something like that, they'd realize, like, I'm getting something out of me here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's great for anyone.
Yeah, great for cathartic output, for everybody.
I think even as a listener, right, because I'm not even a musician, but when you listen to heavy stuff, not necessarily just Slugcrust, but any kind of heavy stuff that suits your fancy, it helps you, lack of a better word, exercise the demons and kind of cope with things a little bit better, right?
Oh, of course. No, it really does. That's how I think we all got started, is hearing something like that. And it just, something about the aggression and everything else just even just jamming it in your car just makes you feel something that you've been needing to feel. You know what I mean? So then, like, some of us, whenever we get to do it ourselves, it's even just like one touch more therapy, I guess. But no, I think it's amazing just to have that outlet. It's like we've talked about that a lot, actually. I think it's something that anybody could get into and realize, like, hey, it's not just noise and sound, like, or just like, we're not trying to just disturb your ears. It is like in some form of therapy for all of us, you know?
Right. No, I get that. So record comes out in June, like the end of this month, right? We're in June now. So like 2, 3 weeks from now. What's been
Yeah.
the early on response to it so far, at least to the singles?
Seems great.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, everything. We put out the 2 singles so far. We've had a lot of good response on those. And I'm hoping this next one I'm really excited about, because we just got hooked up with a really cool animator who's doing the video for this one.
Nice.
So it's the first time we're gonna have like a really like disgusting animation for a video. So I think it's gonna be really, really cool on that one.
So are you planning to go with the sort of single model then, like every whatever it is, 4, 6 weeks, dropping a single with a video? Because I know that's how the music business has sort of reinvented itself.
Yeah, that's the EP. We've had 2 music videos come out for each of the singles, Feral Natural and V4 out so far. And for the title track, we've been fortunate to have talented artists, take the narrative and be able to create something visually with that. And we're stoked to, let everyone else in on that when it comes out June 28th.
Nice. So I don't know if this applies to music in this sort of genre, but is there something you want your fans to take away from after listening to a Slugcrust record or even Discharge, the EP coming out?
So I think so, yeah, and I think it's a lot to do with Jesse. So again, I'll let him answer this one. A lot of his lyrics are kind of what we all feel, and it represents us all in a way.
Right. Thanks. It's takes that angst and that depravity that kind of we take from growing up here and our upbringing from all of us. We want to take our music and bring everyone else into that heavy narrative that what sometimes can often not be said in in normal dialogue. We try to take that artistically and an anti-corruption narrative, taking from what we put out with Ecocide and Bind and our records with Terminus Hate City. We're thankful that all the music industry in the DIY sense has had our back, and that's kind of taking what we've we're just thankful to have everyone a part of this so far. And Discharge is sort of a call to that anti-corruption narrative that we've sort of put out.
Yeah, and somewhat like a call to the underdogs as well. I think we always root for the underdogs and try to do our best to like help anyone that we think like is just having a hard time in life, whether that be in any way you could imagine. You know what I mean? But like, I think that's kind of our whole one. Like, if we had a message, I'd say it's something along those lines.
So not very unfamiliar or unsimilar to like the hardcore sort of vibe 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, correct. I'd say it's very similar. Yeah.
I mean, like what Black Flag and Bad Brains and all of them were doing. They were doing that sort of thing, DIY, a sort of positive message and anti, sort of thing.
Trying to bring that narrative up front and as clear as day in a common vernacular as possible to get everyone singing along and chanting, what to feel what they feel inside with our music as well.
Right. When you guys are writing, are you writing how the songs are going to come across in the live setting, or are you writing the song for the song's sake and then worrying about it live?
So I think the music is separated from the lyrics. We usually end up doing the music first. Well, I know Jesse's writing lyrics here and there, but it's kind of got a unique approach where like our drummer, Brett Terrapin, he ends up writing almost everything. I mean, we've written a couple of songs together, but not guitars and stuff, but he writes the structure of the drums, where he'll just give us a song like, yo, I wrote this on drums. And then me and our bass player will take those drums and just sit in a room and just riff to them till we have what we like. And that's been like 90% of our approach. And then Jesse comes in after with either lyrics he's pre-written or he hears something in the song and writes lyrics to the song. And then it kind of just falls together in that way, but it's worked really well for us. So we just kind of been keeping that whole thing going.
So you're not worried about like, hey, this is a good place for a breakdown, or hey, this is a good place to get the crowd jumping, or any of that. That just comes later.
Yeah, it's fully up to Brett. So like if Brett writes a part that just ends up, okay, that's got a good groove to it, we'll try to write a groove along with it. But sometimes we'll just do something chaotic over his groove. It's just what we feel sounds cool. And if it doesn't sound cool, I mean, that's just is what it is. But so far, I think we've done decently well to do. Like when we hear it back, we're like, all right, that's pretty smooth.
And do some forethought with like crowd anticipation and all that. Like what parts are going to be sick live and what parts are going to really hit the hardest, scratch the itch. So that's what's been good about me moving from Florida to being up here to be a part of the writing process too. I think everyone, during the pandemic,
we've all been in bands before where we really tried too hard to do that, where it's like, all right, we got to make sure there's a 2-step here, and then we got to go like from this 2-step into like a halftime part because that'll get them grooving again. And then we got to make sure there's a big breakdown right here, and like we've done that before a lot, which is awesome. I mean, it works. It's why people do it. But this is kind of like more, I don't know, relieving in a weird way to not have to worry about that. And we just kind of like just write stuff, and like sometimes we end up with a 50-second song that's just chaotic and almost noise, and then sometimes we end up with a song that's like overly groovy and we're like, well, that one actually like has a really good structure to it somehow, you know what I mean? But it's like not overthought at all.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm going to break the cardinal rule of this show, and in the 4 years that we've done it, I've never asked this question on purpose because you get it a million times, but I have to know, where did Slugcrust come from?
The name? So it was literally just me writing random names out until something stuck. But like we had like a lot of iterations of it. And then when that one was written out, we all were just like, ugh. Like, it was just like, we were like, okay, that's a good enough reaction that we all were like, oh, that's just gross, you know? Generally, and then, honestly, too, like one part that was like a really small ticker to it is that like just having crust in the name, and we're like kind of like a crust band, so it's like it just kind of like worked, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's just gross. That's the main thing.
In all the years, my partner would kill me if he knows I asked that question. We kind of made it a point. We're not going to ask the same basic questions, over and over again that you guys get asked. This one bothered me, so I broke the cardinal rule. And Chris, forgive me, but we went with it.
Yeah.
What does this look like live? You guys taking this out on the road?
We're doing like a smaller run. It's not announced yet, so I'm not going to give too many details on it, but it's just going to be like a weekender, and it'll probably be actually in August, so it'll be a little bit after the release, but we are trying to plan to do at least like a release show, but we're not too sure. We're all like full-time jobs and stuff, so we do this also almost full-time. I mean, we put a lot of hours into it, but we do like a lot of weekend runs, like 4 days here and there, and we try to keep it like spread out and stuff like that, so that way we're not getting tired of it, people getting tired of us, all that. So, but yeah, we will be doing some kind of shows.
I think it's a testament to the way it sounds, how you guys are, or anybody like myself included, doing this full time in addition to my regular job, right? All my passion and all my time goes into this. And I think it makes it different from the people that are getting paid big money. We'd all like to make big money, but I think when it's a passion project, there's a lot more to it. And people vibe more off it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. It helps a lot too. Just like for us, because we're doing weekenders, I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go super far away from your home. So then also you don't want to oversaturate your own area by playing like, the same town that's an hour away from your house so like we do try to spread it out, and then that way we can go do a 3-day, 4-day up and down the East Coast and hit different cities each time we do it. And it really helps us not just feel like we're playing the exact same city every weekend or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
right. So let me ask you a question. How does it make you feel when the energy and the power and the chaos you envisioned while writing the song in your bedrooms or in the rehearsal space comes to life in front of that crowd?
It's something else, I gotta say, because we just played these 2 house shows, I think, and put out these 2 new songs. I mean, everything is happening all at once. The reaction, dodging everyone. It's kind of the expectation. It's a very alive feeling.
And it's visceral, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to describe it. Absolutely.
That's crazy. It's
Yeah.
like I said, so comparing to the old 70s, 80s hardcore scene, that's what it was, right? It was, you watch those videos and there's bodies flying everywhere and everybody's
Yeah.
dripping in sweat, but the energy is there and everyone's having a good time.
Yeah. If I'm
Right.
not,
We just played a house show that was absolutely insane. I mean, it was like in a living room that was, I don't know, maybe like 400 square feet, like the smallest living room, a little square, but it was like packed full of bodies. Everybody's just like going nuts, just slamming into each other, and it was just pretty great. So, I mean, it's those are our favorite moments, I'd say, to be honest. I think we'd rather play full tours of house shows if we could get away with it. It's just kind of a little hard to find houses all over the country that people are willing to destroy for music. So,
Right. But do you find yourself, I don't know what the word is, wanting, you said you want to do more house shows, but like preparing for those kind of shows is different, right? Preparing for a house show as opposed to preparing for a club show or a venue show?
I'd say so. It's more like just the live sound is different, but like
Right.
for us, because we all just like have such like we run full stacks and like kind of have big amps and stuff. We kind of, it's not like a whole lot different for us personally, but I know for a lot of bands it can like destroy some bands that really rely on that big PA sound and all that and stuff. For us, as long as they have like a practice amp that's loud enough to hear Jesse over our wall of noise, then we're usually good. So it kind of
Yep.
just works out. And I'd even say sometimes I feel like we sound better in a house show setting, where when you put us in front of like the big amps and speakers and stuff, like you almost notice too much. It's like mixed too well in a way sometimes.
Too
Where
polished?
yeah, right. Where it somehow like takes away from just the loud wall of noise that we kind of go for. So when it's in like a small room and just like cranked to 10, it just feels like, I don't know, feels like what we envisioned when we wrote it, more than when we get on like a stage and everything's perfectly tuned and you know what I mean?
The kids are separated from you and that whole thing, right?
Right.
Interesting. But do you have any good stories of house shows going wrong with everybody up in your face like that?
That last show we just did, it was like amazing, but at the same time, we were all getting slammed into every few seconds. So it's like we all like missed notes. Jesse was catching people and like throwing them, like keeping them from slamming through the drum set and stuff like that. So I mean, like, I don't think it was like a gone wrong situation, but it was a intense situation. You know?
I'm going to be honest, never been to a house show in my life before. So what I'm envisioning is you're just in the middle of the room or in a corner of the room and everybody else is just jammed in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. So
It was
somebody gives
cool.
up their
This
house.
one they had people peeking through the windows because there's so many people there they couldn't fit in the room. So there's like
Right.
people like creeping around the hallway trying to see what's going on. There's people like looking through the window watching the show, and then there's the ones that really want to be in there, forcing their way in there just to go nuts. And I mean, it was definitely nuts. So
Yeah.
Wow. I couldn't imagine, like, I mean, it's a great concept, but I couldn't imagine giving over my house to let a whole bunch of people just tear it up.
yeah, there's not many, but when they come around, they're awesome. This one they do a lot of shows there. It's in Columbia, South Carolina. It's called the Commie House, and they do tons of shows there. So it just ends up like they know what they're getting into. You know what I mean? I mean, the walls are spray painted up. It's
Oh, okay.
it's pretty cool. It feels kind of like a really tiny venue. If I you know,
Right. So it's not somebody's like main residence.
no, well, I think they live there, but
Okay. Fair enough. So what's next for you guys then?
I think just getting this release out, getting our next video out. Like I said, I think we're gonna do a run the end of August, early September. It's like somewhere around there. And then hopefully doing like some kind of little release for that show, and then after that, it's just more writing for us. We just kind of keep going and going and going. So
Yeah.
You're one of those fans who just keeps writing?
yeah. I don't think we've stopped since we started this band. So this is gonna be like somehow like our 5th release or something like that. And I think we started this in 2022, so we just kind of been going and going. It's like every time we get done with one, we're just like already on to the next. So
Do you ever find yourself with leftovers from the one release that you end up using on the next, or do you scrap everything and then start again?
we kind of scrap everything and start again, because like even like that's a good question, because this last thing we did, we had 2 songs that we didn't use. And I've even thought about going back to them recently, but I did. I like pulled them up just the other day, just the drums and stuff. And I was just like, I'd rather just start something new. So I feel like it just like once it sits a little too long for me, at least personally, I'm just like, it doesn't feel fresh anymore. I'm like, nah, I want something new now. Like I'll remember that from months ago, and I'm like, I'm over it now. Let's do a whole new song, you know. So we we've definitely scrapped a good bit. I wouldn't say like, you know, probably only like 5-10 songs we've scrapped, but it's like if it sits too long, it's like, we can write something else. We write fairly quickly, so it ends up just being like, let's just do something new.
Yeah, try to write a new book of work and a whole new series of releases and get all the music and fit into that sort of what we're going for there.
Fair enough. If fans want to find you, can you give us all your socials and all that kind of stuff?
We can start at the Linktree/Slugcrust, but everything is mostly at Slugcrust on Instagram, at Slugcrust on X, SlugcrustSC on Facebook. And Bandcamp, obviously, Slugcrust. You know, we also have a YouTube. We're putting on the music videos, so stay tuned and subscribe.
All right, and Discharged is June 28th. So go out and pick that up, and then hopefully we'll catch you on the East Coast run. Because I was telling Jesse, I'm here in Richmond. I'm not far from you.
Oh, nice.
And there's a decent scene here, so maybe we'll get you up here.
Yeah, we're trying to get there. Actually, it might not be on that August run, but we're like this year. We actually just talked about getting up to Virginia and stuff. So we'll probably be up that way.
Yeah, there's a pretty cool scene here, as you know. So yeah, it'll be nice to catch you out.